What's poppin'? What's going on, man? It's your boy. We back. Okay, bet. Y'all know what's going on. It's your boy, okay, bet, KK Trades, man. We didn't caught a banger today, right? If you followed the game plan from yesterday, what did I tell you? Most likely it was a bear trap, right? What did we get today? A bear trap. Trump tweeted, whatever. But it's always a Trump tweet. They always use the catalyst. But remember, we talked about this, right? Things are always priced in. Somebody always knows something. You know what I'm saying? So you never have to worry about, levels and stuff like that. If the level's going to break, it's going to break. Regardless if Trump tweets or not. You know what I'm saying? So basically, let's go over the game plan. You know what I'm saying? Show y'all how we made absolute stupid money today. And then we'll go over there. When I got the Max 7, we'll go over all the tickers, that everybody wanted me to go over. And then we'll go from there. All right, let's get into it. So first things first, SPY. I swung those calls, right? They did actually hit, so I sold them right when we hit our level, right? And I was actually mid mentorship class, and I was teaching my student, and I was telling him like, hey, on these choppy days, right, be careful of a range, kind of like yesterday, right? We had this little weird range. We rotated. Look, remember, range, rotate it up, rotate it down, right? Rotate it back up, right? So we were talking about the ranges yesterday and how that works. So, basically, what I'm saying? I was like, hey, don't buy the first long, Don't buy that first long, probably gonna be a trap. Why? Look left, right? Look left. What do we have here? Sell, right? Sell right here. So, of course, you don't want to make sure that you're not just buying into those opening moves. So we didn't do that, right? I sold the calls up here, and then we took puts. Oh, I actually did. No, I did actually take open calls off the first dump, right? Off of this wick. Where's the bottom to this square? There we go. Yeah, in here. Because at the time it was over here. So once we swept this, kind of like what we've been doing, you know what I'm saying? Like we've been sweeping the bottom, sweeping the top, sweeping the bottom. We kind of have this range motion going on. Remember, if you go back in time and look, right? Zoom out. Let's go back and look. Remember how during this time, if you were following me on YouTube back then, I was telling y'all, this is just controlled selling, right? We're having these, huge sales kind of overnight, and we're gapping up. Huge sales, and we're gapping up. Huge sales, and we're getting these, you know what I'm saying? Until eventually we finally broke, right? And over here, I was telling y'all, don't panic, right? This is controlled selling. If we were just panic selling, if it was like overall bull rally, it would just go breakdown, right? And it would just actually flip over, right? So this was kind of the same thing. Obviously, this first day was a bit scary, but this was easy price action, right? Look, breakdown, retest, breakdown, retest, breakdown, right? You just kept going. And then it started to get a little, little weird choppy action. Then we got again, breakdown, retest, again, breakdown, breakdown, breakdown. So once we finally did all that, right, we've still just been kind of chopping in the same two candles, you know what I'm saying? We've been inside this candle for like 3 days, right? And then we even came back inside the main Friday candle literally every day, right? We've been inside this candle at least every single day, and we just can't seem to go lower. So how do I teach y'all about bear traps? What I always tell y'all, what will it do? Bear traps will go, bang. Keep going, and then eventually they're gonna come take out some swing low, swing high. They're gonna take out something to scare everybody and be like, oh, it's over, and that's what this is, right? Look left. What is this? This is the most recent swing low. What did we attempt to do? Breakdown. How many times did we try? We tried for 3 days, could not do it. So eventually, that's why I said yesterday, if we cannot lose this low, my bullish thesis still stands. And I told y'all, hey, I'm bullish. I've been telling y'all this the whole dump. I'm sorry. I even told y'all yesterday in yesterday's video. I said, hey, I still can't go short. I can't do it, right? So we saved our buying power. We caught the double bottom off the previous day's close. Easy, right? People tried to short this as soon as pre-market low broke, and they got cooked. And I told them, you can't be doing that because this is a range. There's no clear direction, right? Look left. We are inside of this candle, right? This is the inside day. So if we swept low and got this stupid pop, then that means this would have been a low and a higher low. So as long as we'd never lost it to create a new low, then this was just a higher low. And what happens after the higher lows? Higher highs. So eventually we knew, hey, give me high a day, right? So I bought some calls, sitting, waiting. And it was crazy because I was actually in a mentorship class with a whole different student. And I was telling her like, teaching the same things about the gaps and stuff like that. The ranges. And then as I'm explaining it to her about this one over here, I'm like, and then all of a sudden we get a Trump T and it pops. And literally as we're talking, it just absolutely just goes crazy. So we sold, 400%. My last run only got like 500%, but it was only one con, so it was nothing. Obviously, I didn't be able to bank off of it. And then, we bought the dip again, end of day, right? We bought where'd it go? Oh, it was SPX. But basically, all I did was basically wait for this dip, right? Bought the dip off the first breakout, and I said, hey, if it keeps down here, I'm gonna buy it. And then it was like a single candle. 100 and some percent, I forget, 115, 120. But and then now obviously I'm swinging calls. So, thesis still stands, right? I still believe, like I've been saying, I think this is still all a bear trap, right? And like I said, we won't know until we get a firm higher low or a true lower low. You know what I'm saying? If we get a firm higher low and we're just like, okay, cool, it's the higher low and proceed to get up new highs, then we'll be like, okay, cool. But, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, we can't celebrate just yet because we're still, in an hourly downtrend, right? Hourly downtrend. Now, today is where we actually broke for the first time, you know what I'm saying? So now it's kind of like, and this is what I was telling my students too. Obviously, there's bull traps and stuff like that, but you have to be mindful of the bear traps. Obviously, I don't think it's one, but I'm not a market maker, I don't know. But, you know what I'm saying? Bear traps will look the same way. Downtrend. Sweep one of these levels, right? Let everybody think we're bullish. And if we can't go higher, it's going to smack down and use that liquidity to give us a new low, right? And we do have a gap below, so you still have to be aware of that, right? I'm not saying it's over, just buy calls and swing everything. No, I actually have calls for next Friday. That's how, it's not confirmed yet, right? Remember, we need breakout, we need a retest. So if we gap up, let's get into the game plan, right? Now it all comes together, right? I gave you all a little background story. So now, main levels. First off, we're inside. Oh, let me get rid of this. What in the world? It won't go away. Oh, there we go. But yeah, so now that we're inside of this, we're still inside of Friday's candle, then all we really need to do for tomorrow is mark today's close, of course, and that Friday's low. And why do I say that Friday's low? Because we've been inside this inside candle for so long. You know what I'm saying? Like, something's got to shake. What the hell is that? Oh, there we go. I'm like, what happened to my chart? But yeah, you know what I'm saying? We've been inside this candle for so long, like, bro, we gotta break, right? We did break above yesterday's candle, but we're still inside Tuesday's candle, Monday's candle, which is all inside of Friday's candle. So mark Friday's low, just a good vantage point, just in case, we do gap down or anything like that. But as long as this holds, right? As long as this holds, all of this, anything barely above 734, right? Anything that couldn't hold last time, as long as this holds, right? And then this level, as long as this holds, right? 738. And then we can get a push finally over 742 and then maybe take out Friday's highs. Then I'll be more, just like, all right, cool, I'm finna aim for all-time highs. Because like I said, we still are inside these daily candles. Let's look at the daily. You know what I'm saying? Like, all we did was really crack yesterday's candle. So we still have a bunch of, sell liquidity in here that, we'll probably have some pullbacks. But like I said, they could just send it. Like right now, I'm swinging calls. I have calls, for next Friday, and then I also have calls for tomorrow as well. But yeah, if they just gap us up, that'd be so much easier. Because then we could just if they gap us over 742, we can just, mind you, the SpaceX IPOs tomorrow. So we don't know if that's going to bring in some liquidity. And I'll go over Tesla and stuff too, and we'll see how, whether or not that plays a factor or anything. But if it does, Tesla is a part of the Max 7. If SpaceX pumps it, it could go a little, I could see them using it to kind of just send the market, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. This is pretty new for me, when it comes to that kind of stuff. I've never really seen a hype behind an IPO this much, But I mean, it is Elon Musk, so he's a man with a plan, and if Trump's backing him and stuff like that, they'll probably have some plan. Just be careful though if you are going to trade that SPX tomorrow at open. There's going to be millions of orders and all type of stuff. So it's weird because I was thinking like, well, it would be an absolute nightmare if it IPO'd and just went straight to dirt, right? But at the same time, if Elon were to pump it himself and buy in, would that be considered inside trading? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that work? So I'm personally just going to stay away because I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, I don't think he would want it to dump. I don't think he would even allow that. But I don't know if he would just let it, I don't know. Not my thing. I don't do IPOs. But, like I said, just be mindful of that. Let's go over the other tickers real quick. Yeah, we got upper targets, we got lower targets. Yeah, let's go over the other tickers. We're going to start with GOOG. Google. Is there a difference between GOOG and just GOOG? Oh, look. Nice. What do we have? Gap. Bullish gap, right? Because we popped and we left it. So this is actually going to be pretty simple. If this bullish gap holds, I got bit by mosquitoes while I was fishing. Goodness gracious. But if this gap holds, right, and we get back above 365, right, you should just really come up here. We got gaps right here, right? Break that, and then probably continue up. Remember, like I said, that's if all of this is just a simple pullback, right? If it's all a simple pullback, then remember, if you want this, you need this. If you want this, you need this. Vice versa. If you want this, you gotta be patient for this, right? If you want this, you gotta wait for this. So you have to wait for these things. So yeah, let that play out and we'll see. Because like I said, today's just one candle. Obviously, one candle is not confirmation, right? One candle don't mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. It means something because we were at a profit, absolutely. But as far as grand scheme, one candle don't mean nothing. So yeah, like I said, be patient with this. If there's something that you're buying time, it's actually a very good entry. As far as, how that goes. But yeah, you want to see a breakout, retest, right? You already have some levels up here, resistance. So yeah, right? Breakout, hold that. So yeah, keep that one. I'll keep that one on watch, actually. I might just found something. SPY. Amazon has finally got back on this channel, right? I was waiting for this. I was like, bro, it's just done? Right, so we've been dumped. Oh, look, that's crazy. So the last time we went over this was actually, talking about the dump, and it actually hit the target. That's crazy. But yeah. So if this reclaims, let's give it 245. Right, you reclaim 245, hold 245, break this channel. Right, break 250, maybe a retest, and then you come up here for these upper targets, 256. And then maybe this is just a pullback too. But Amazon is pretty choppy. So yeah, definitely be patient with that. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, 250. Yeah, really 250, 260 is going to be your zone. To see if this, like I said, if this is a true breakout or it's just peace, war. You know what I'm saying? It's just extra liquidity. So we're going to have to see. NVDA. All right, so let's see what NVIDIA talking about. NVIDIA came down to that support. We did sweep it, right? Remember I was talking about I haven't charted this in a minute, but I was talking about the previous breakout zone, right? A previous all-time highs, right? Had this previous zone up here, right? Really, honestly, we should leave it up there. But yeah, I wouldn't really trust NVIDIA till we get back over 210, right? Really the 215-ish. Now, if we see 215 soon, right? Or 213, my fault, 210, then we can probably push back up, right? 220 still a major wall. Got to get past that, and then maybe make our ways up. Maybe, we get some sort of inverse head and shoulder, some bigger over time move. But yeah, still in a very, very, sketchy spot. Like I said, today's just one candle. Bro, I got to start closing my balcony. I just got bit up by mosquitoes. And, yeah. But we do have I do see a little falling wedge, though. A falling wedge into support. You know what I'm saying? You can see how that play out, and then just kind of see where it goes, see if it does. Yeah, keep it simple. Apple, let's get into this. Apple in the same spot. I went over this last time, and we actually made it back to the SMA, which is actually pretty tough. Actually, hold on real quick. I gotta check this. Where did we come on that SPY? Don't need this. So we did reclaim. Nice. So we actually did reclaim. Okay, that's another thing to mention. Tomorrow we hold the 5-day SMA, buy off the 5. That's gonna be the most simple entry you got. Buy off the 5. If we reject the 5, don't buy. But yeah, that's gonna be that's gonna be smooth. That's gonna be very smooth. Yeah, same thing with Apple, right? Is this a true breakdown or is it a bear trap, right? We don't know yet. It's just one day. Remember, we have to retest. We have to reclaim the recent swings. And then once we do that, that's when we target highs, right? Same thing with SPY. Once we reclaim 745, 748, then we can start, we get back above, hold, then we start looking up. Yeah, so same thing for Apple, Tesla. So Tesla's going to be, yeah, everything's kind of in that same range, right? The same range I drew from last time we looked at this. We had this wedge breakdown. If this is a fake out, remember, it's already kind of like a little head and shoulder possibly. Then it'll just, push back up. But obviously you need 400, right? You really want to clear the dump. Really, yeah, like I said, everything's kind of in these dump candles. So while we're in them, be careful, be careful. Because we can consolidate inside of, a daily candle because the range is just so big. Right, but if and when we ever break that mean sell-off candle, really, like I said, for a lot of tickers in the Mag 7, that mean sell-off candle from Friday, if we can ever, because like I said, we're just inside of it. So if we can continue back up, right, obviously you would want to target the highs of that candle, right? But if we take it out, don't get trapped just in case it's just a lower high. You know what I'm saying? Same way they do for the for SPY and everything, right? Same thing. Everything's the same thing, right? Especially on the mags. So yeah, remember, don't go too crazy because if we do clear, that candle, where's Friday's high? Right here. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So obviously, like I said, we'll do targets, but yeah, just be very careful if they gap us crazy and then we just start pushing, right? Like I wouldn't just go piling into calls just yet until we reclaim 748, hold 748. Then we, so we can break out of the range, because they could just break it up here and sweep it, and then we roll, right? Or anything in here could be set as a lower high, right? You have a high, you have a lower high set. This was the most recent lower high, right? So you don't want them to gap us down and make us, no lower high. So right now we're in that transition stage between going from a lower high to a higher high. So all we need now is what? Some sort of lower low, right? Somewhere, anywhere over this. Anywhere over here. It could be over here, it could be over here, anything like that. So yeah, we're running at 15 minutes, so we're actually doing pretty good on time. But I'm trying to think. Let me run through here real quick and see if there's any other tickers I missed. Hood Rich. Oh, VIX. Let me go over VIX real quick. Yeah, so the VIX actually did dump, but it's not that. That's why I was saying this sell-off isn't really that bad, right? This was the war pump on the VIX. This was tariffs. Now this shit was crazy. This is when the market was truly selling off. VIX was just jumping, right? But we are still pretty high, right? We're above my level, that 18 level. I really want to see us back below, maybe 17, 16, somewhere down there. So if we do gap down in the VIX, be more confluence of everything kind of calming down, right? Hood. I'm not doing Hood, Rich. Hood. We finally got that break of that channel. However long we was watching this, that took forever. I got to retest bottom. Yeah. Let's see. I be finding random beats on YouTube. I be finding we going crazy. Alright, let me see. Yeah, I like that. All right. So basically, we got a little cup and handle going on, right? Beautiful little cup handle. So it looks good, right? Basically, what you want to see though for confirmation, like I said, is the break of these highs. Break of that high, right? You kind of can let the measure move play out. Measure move is just bottom of the cup, top of the cup, move it up there to the neckline. First target would be 98. Second target would be somewhere between 103 to 105, right? And it's actually cool because you have a gap to close almost in the middle of the target, right? So it'd be a nice little trim area right here in the middle, nice gap close. And just overall, you have some major confluence over here in this specific area. So yeah, and I'm feeling a little better too. So I'll try to go live and stuff like that. Probably tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, so I have to go live tomorrow. It's Friday, yeah. In the chat. So yeah, I will be live tomorrow morning, Cobb's Cap in the morning, fresh off the open. So I'll see y'all. Keep God first. Keep it simple. Remember, it's as simple as you make it. You complicate it, that's on you. If you keep it simple, it's just simple, Even earlier today, I told everybody, I said, hey, we're in a range. We know ranges like to fake out. I've been telling y'all this for 4 or 5 days in a row. Now they're starting to pick it up like, okay, just wait. Exactly, just wait. Swept again, right? So unless, remember I said, if we're not continuing, we're still inside this candle. We haven't went nowhere. We're not going lower. So if we cannot go lower, then I prefer to buy the dips, you know what I'm saying? Instead of selling the rips, obviously you can. I took the first sell because it was, high volatility, but I didn't want to take these sells. I took, like I said, I took 1 or 2 on the downside, but that's just not my cup of tea, right? Especially if I know what I'm looking for, right? And once we got that double bottom, I was like, might as well go ahead and grab some 730s because I'm most likely just rotate again. And even if we don't break out, good target. And they were just, I'm talking about, they were wash, rinse, repeat, and they were going pretty crazy. So, yeah, man, just keep it simple. And like I said, yeah, 5 is going to be a really big game plan for tomorrow. So we're definitely going to need that. And, yeah, y'all keep it simple. We got the World Cup on right now. Y'all know who I'm going for. Baby. Let's go, man. But, yeah, I'll see y'all boys. Keep it easy and stay blessed. Peace.